So how do you want to? So you mentioned kind of doing like a
who we are show and what's the show.
Yes. Did you get my email about the birthday?
I did. Yeah, I haven't checked my calendar. So thanks. I got it. Thanks.
All right, and so Rob, your one is why is my lender quote higher than the one I saw on the internet?
okay.
So,
Everything is true on the internet, right?
what was that?
Everything is true on the internet.
Yeah, that's right. I saw the internet.
Whatever is the most advantageous thing.
Okay. So as Mark mentioned, this is a brand new show for a lot of people. So it's on our new station. So we're not going to mention anything about the new station, but we'll say we've been doing this
Disparage them.
for 6 years. Well, we've been doing it for 6 years. It was our 300th show.
Yeah, so I'll start out with a little bit of banter talking about the show. I might throw it back to Edward to talk about. So tell the audience about the format of our show.
Got it.
And then I'll probably I told Kathryn that what I do is I probably make some comment about you individually and maybe asking us. So Rob, why should someone come to you? Yeah. Again, this is a lot of we should be self-promoting on this show, and we'll through our email questions we'll be able to get some info out there.
That brought stuff just as a fallback.
And we can talk about if it looks like we need a little bit of filler.
But the segments are short, you said, so
they're going to go by fast.
They're going to go by fast.
7 minutes, 9 minutes, 7 minutes, 9 minutes, and then 4 minutes is the last one. So just kind of recap. We'll tell them what you're going to tell them, and
right.
And what you told them. Okay, you guys ready? Just have to remember I changed my little thing here.
Yeah, you followed it.
Welcome, you're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host. I'm proud to have as my co-host Mark Hump of Pacific Private Money, one of California's fastest growing mortgage investment firms, Kathryn Harris, CPA of Parati & Corrales, and Rob Spinoza of RPM Mortgage. Now we're excited because this is our first show on KDOW, 12:20 a.m., but this isn't our first show, is it?
No, absolutely. In fact, we just celebrated our 300th show on another Bay Area radio station that, unfortunately for them, no longer exists. But I will tell you, what a silver lining. I am so excited to be on KDOW. I've always actually wanted to be on this radio station, and I'm glad we're finally here. New audience, and in fact, there's great shows. I love Rob Black. I love Joe Cucchiera and all the regular speakers here, and we're going to add to that with our show here. In fact, Edward, why don't you tell the audience a little bit, what kind of show do we have here on The Best of Investing?
Well, we used to kind of tease people that it's like a bunch of guys or gals sitting around a bar having drinks without the drinks, talking business, and the audience is listening in.
We're still working on trying to get the drinks involved.
I mean, that's true.
We don't frown on drinking amongst the listeners.
Yeah,
I would
doesn't
say,
like that very much.
Right. So we are not an infomercial, and we're not going to sit
Right.
here and just do nothing but talk about ourselves and our businesses, although we are going to promote ourselves, of course, on the show. I mean, that's part of the benefits of having a show. But really, we like to talk real estate. We like to talk alternative investments. We're going to have guest co-hosts in future shows that talk about the traditional investments like stocks. We're going to have financial planners. Edward and I will be with you every week, and I'm president of Pacific Private Money. We are an alternative finance company here in the Bay Area. Some people call us hard money lenders, but as you'll hear later in the show and on future shows, private money loan originators, aka hard money, it's a much different business model than it was, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and we help a lot of people with their real estate transactions when they get into a pinch. And then we've got a kind of a revolving group of co-hosts, and today we've got RPM extraordinaire mortgage broker Rob Spinoza with us, and we've got CPA extraordinaire Kathryn the Cat Harris from Parati & Corrales, and I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to really enjoy hearing Kathryn and her CPA snippets. And I'll tell you one of the nice things. You guys won't know this because you're listening on the radio. I mean, Edward and I joke about how we've got a face for radio, but one of the neat things about it, I work with a lot of CPAs in my life.
I knew this was coming.
I'm going to tell you, Kathryn Harris is very easy on the eyes. I'm going to tell you.
So I don't have a radio face. I only have a TV face.
No, that's
Not
exactly.
She's got the TV
Well, in
face
fact, if
here
you
in
go
the
to the
group.
Best of Investing website, www.bestinvesting.com, You can see with all of us.
The best part about it is I knew when he was talking about the face for radio, he wasn't going to bridge into me. He wasn't talking about me. He was going right to Kathryn.
You have a voice.
Yeah, Kathryn's on page 1. You're on page 2.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah, scroll down far. So Rob Spinoza, RPM Mortgage. Why would someone come to you for a mortgage?
Well, hey, I'd like to just say this is great being on a new station and having a new audience. But I think your question, Mark, is one of the things we do in residential lending. I was just talking to a group of friends earlier today, and I said, okay, how many of you guys have a checking or savings account with either or Wells, B of A, or Chase? And just about every hand in the room goes up, right?
Yep.
It's everybody. But when it comes to mortgage needs, especially in the Bay Area, we have a very dynamic market. Everybody out there listening knows that. It's unique, and it doesn't follow the trends often across the rest of the nation. And what we do here at RPM, we're a very large non-depository mortgage lender. Mortgage lending is all we do. We know the Bay Area very well. So I think that is something I'm happy to share here on the radio. Address questions that are specific to our audience, and general questions about how things get done with greater ease in a very, very difficult regulatory environment.
Well, one of the things I appreciate about you is that when I've had clients come in and they need a residential mortgage, I give out your name, and most of the time you help them. But even if you can't help them, you've given them very honest, very good advice.
Yeah.
And so, I really appreciate that. So I have got no problem.
No, I love what I do, and I think one of the things that we're in a unique position to do is, as embattled as our industry has been, it's given me a great opportunity to help folks and to take them from point A to point B, even if that is not an instant journey to where they need to go. And I have no problem giving them sound advice. I feel it's my responsibility to do so.
Well, and moving right into that, again, people listening on KDOW for the first time may not know that since we've been around since August 2010, we get emails from listeners with various questions, and then we go ahead and ask them. So what I'd like to do is, as we talk about each one of us, I'd like to give the email. Okay, so for Rob, we had here, why is my lender's quote higher than the one I saw on the internet? That's a good question.
It is a great question. So internet-based interest rate quotes are a reality. We face them in just about every scenario we do, and certainly I have no issue with the consumer going out there and comparison shopping. I think for a large ticket item like a mortgage, you would be remiss if you didn't do that. That said, internet quotes, what I liken it to is like WebMD. People, if they have a medical issue, they want to go find out what it is. But you don't rely on WebMD for your diagnosis. In other words,
I had brain surgery.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And it was doing it yourself, and it worked really well.
But WebMD says I need the OxyContin. So would you please give it to me, right? You can't. So it doesn't work that way. Like with lending, it doesn't quite work that way. So one of the things is, by all means, use the internet to do your research. Use the internet to establish a baseline for interest rate quotes. But when the rubber needs to meet the road, you do need to talk with a professional. And real estate transactions, by nature, Mark, you can attest this, are highly complex. What an internet quote will likely not do is incorporate all of the attributes that will ultimately factor into your rate. One of the things that's critical to that is time. And consumers do a very poor job, sorry guys, but you do a very poor job of assessing how long it's going to take you to get your transaction done. And as a result of that, the rate lock quoted on the internet may not be applicable to your situation. So it's one of many things.
Okay,
But
we're going to come back to you later on, but give out your information real quickly.
Real quick, I am at RPM Mortgage in Mill Valley. You can find my bio on Best of Investing, and I can be reached at 415-367-5959.
All right, so we are going to cut to our first commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to ask Kathryn, CPA, a question that comes in from a listener about tax returns. All right.
Lovely.
So stay with us. You're listening to The Best of Investing. We'll be right back. Okay, that was good. That was right on time. I think it was a very good start.
Yeah.
So we
doing
have
all these other announcements. I was really kind of getting
we have
myself.
how many segments? So we have 5 total.
Five.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was
the
one.
fourth one is going to be just a wrap up.
Yeah, fifth
4
one.
minutes will go by really
Yeah,
fast.
exactly. All right, so this is going to be kind of a hassle for me to do 5 of these things.
What's the listener base? There's a difference, you know.
Well, this is more people
Wealthier.
wealthier, yeah, and people who are very more focused on business versus,
I did a little
Which is
research
good. A
on
lot
the
of people
station.
like listen for political stuff too.
Right.
Right. So this is
They're
actually
more
more our
focused on
audience. So even if it's not quite as large, but the thing is, the signal apparently it's strong throughout all 9 Bay
Nice.
Area. Now we may not hear from people in Oregon, but that's not really
Yeah.
our audience anyway, so that's okay.
Yeah, I think the KDOW audience is going to be better for the show, better for all of us. I think it's more to
Yeah.
who we actually really want to reach
Well, I mean,
out
you
to.
know, one thing you look at is, okay, so KKSF was a known entity. It was what it was, right? So now you're changing that.
Except that this is the Wall Street Business Journal.
And they've been around for 8 years,
Yeah.
and so their listenership and their base.
I'm
is
surprised you
growing.
found the home that quick.
I know.
Well, as soon
Well,
as
he knew what was going to happen. All the other shows are going to be looking too.
exactly,
All
that's
the
why,
other weekend
and in fact, they
shows.
were starting to get a bunch of calls. So we were very fortunate to get this time. Otherwise, some other people,
What
guys
is the
like
time? I
Kathryn
don't think
Tucci is
I-
like 3
maybe
a.m.
you said it
We're
in the-
Saturday at 12.
Okay.
So
Same
the
time.
I obviously didn't look at that email.
Yeah.
Same back time, different back channel. That's Saturday.
You just are looking more at days and times.
Right. So they'll do our new introduction, themselves. I can still do the same music, figure that would be nice.
So you can just go right into just reintroduce Kathryn
Yeah.
Harris and ask her.
Well, good. Still have to do some of our little announcements here.
Oh, sure.
No, I want all my emails. By 18, you taxes return.
Yeah. All right, one down. I have to do it on a sports show too. It's hard because there's guests that call in from all over the country, and I have to say, I'm sorry, Vita Blue, hold on, He's actually lovely, he's a nice guy. All right.
So this is an 8.5.
This is a 8-minute and 50 second.
Okay.
Well, welcome back to The Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn, Rob Spinoza, and Kathryn Harris, CPA. She's the only one who gets the actual 3 letters after her name.
I worked hard for those 3
Yes,
years.
yes, you did. Yes, you did. Okay, before we get into Kathryn to ask about the CPA question, I want to make a quick mention here. This is kind of a special thing. If you go onto the Best of Investing website and you click on paintball, we actually have an icon, a paintball ticket icon, and if you click on that, you get 85% off of paintball tickets, and it's not just for one venue. It's like venues all around the country.
As they say on the
Wow.
beaches in Mexico, it's almost free.
It's almost free. Exactly. Yeah. No, this actually is pretty good. So instead of like paying $30 for a ticket, you pay like $5.
Ah, that's
So
great.
go to
It is almost free.
www.bestofinvesting.com and click on paintball. Okay. So Kathryn, you are a CPA. You've actually been with us for a few years.
That I have,
on,
right?
on the Best of Investing. Yes, we like you, so we keep inviting you back.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. So there is a
I
question.
keep up with you guys, right?
Yes, you do. You absolutely do. Okay, so here's a question comes in. It says, I like to file an extension every year. Should I actually wait until October, or should I file before then? Kind of a follow-up. When am I least likely to get audited? Okay, so
Isn't
that's
that
the
always the question?
Yeah,
It is-
that's the real reason why they're asking the question. Go
I
ahead.
have clients that have just a W-2 and they get paranoid that they are going to be audited.
Audited.
And I'm like, you have W-2. There's nothing. You have no deductions. There's nothing
Right.
else to it, and they get paranoid.
As
So
long as it's a real W-2.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I've actually one
I've
just
seen
happened.
some of those too.
One actually-
The old days of mortgage, right?
Yeah,
Lifelines.
exactly. Yeah.
I had a client just now who got scared because the franchise tax board just called them and said that the information that was filed was not accurate,
That's not fun.
which agreed
Yeah.
to the W-2. So what was wrong there was the employer wasn't remitting their taxes.
Yeah,
Their withholdings.
So they so let me see if I understand this right. The employer took the taxes out of the employee, actually gave a W-2 that said, here's the taxes we took out. So the employee says, well, yeah, that sounds correct.
Government never
But-
saw it.
The government
Never saw it.
They
Yeah,
didn't
so the
remit it.
government's like,
What's
give me
wrong
that
with this
money.
picture?
Yes, yes. And to most people, that's a scary letter to get.
Sure.
That is a scary letter because you don't have a problem yet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And more with lately, and I'm sorry, I will get to the question, is the franchise tax board is just cracks me up. They'll send a letter and it's dated, you'll get it about a month later.
Yeah, right.
And you have to have responded 2 weeks before you even got the letter.
Yeah.
And I've even had letters predated, so we received it and it was dated a month later.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
dated in September, we got it in August.
August.
It's just like, what is going on? So,
Only the government can do that.
yeah. Hello, and I want to say things with everybody else here. Hey, I'm Kathryn Harris. You can call me the Cat. Apparently, it's the new name. I might have to start going with the
I don't know,
Cat.
you're still Kathryn to me. Because I go by Edward, not Ed, so I always have to call you Kathryn.
Yeah.
Unless
I'll
you want
accept
something
it.
different.
I am a local CPA here in Larkspur, California, and I'm happy to be on the show. I've been on the show for about 3 years now. I am a CPA, and one question that kind of came up before, and before I'm going to lead into that question, is why do you want to see me? And I think you'll kind of notice from how I'm talking now is I actually have a personality. That was
true.
that was-
And I will tell you, after working with a lot of CPAs, they're not necessarily easy on the eyes, and they don't have much of a
Well,
personality.
it's like
Yeah.
going to a dentist where, a lot of people don't like it because of the pain.
Yeah.
At least,
Yes.
a lot of people don't like going to the CPA because it's just not only
It's
expensive,
not
but just,
fun.
yeah,
it's
taxes.
not fun.
But,
I get
but
it.
seeing
And
you is always a pleasure.
I try to ease the pain just a bit.
There you go.
And that's actually why I got into the industry. Somebody once told me, it's like, you have a personality, you should become a CPA.
Well,
I'm like, huh.
Wow, that's kind of neat.
It's
I
like
have
they
a-
have bad personalities. I'm like, wow, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I'll tell you where that manifests itself. What I've seen is that we'll ask clients to contact their CPA to get certain information for their loan application, and they'll do that.
They
and
make
they're
this face.
yeah,
Over
exactly.
the phone.
Like it's right,
My CPA, he's not doing anything for me.
right.
Like the old earworm.
There. So that's probably the differentiator for you. Do you agree?
I
mean,
do
because
agree.
I think when clients call you middle of the year and it's unrelated, if you're willing to jump in and get it done, that's that's not commonplace.
It is not, and I am here year round. I am.
Very good.
All right, so question time. Everyone would be quite happy to know that the IRS has less and less of a budget and has to do more and more things. So generally speaking, the likelihood of a individual audit has been diminishing over time and will
Okay.
continue to diminish as the IRS is responsible for the rollout and management of Obamacare. So general great
wow.
news. When it comes to extensions, there's nothing I can tell you that's great. I don't know the crystal ball. If I knew it, that would be my.
Well, because one thing is, a lot of people think, well, if I file close to April 15th, that's when they're going to choose a lot of the audits. But you're in a very big pond of people versus like with July 1st.
So they think that person at the IRS is going to have all day to just sit there and pick the return apart. Is that the rationale?
Well, or they just think that so many people file by April 15th that I'll get lost in the shuffle. But
Oh, okay.
they may choose a larger pond. A larger portion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus, let's say, July 1st, they might only choose 5 people, but
Right.
but there's only 6 tax returns that get filed, so
Right.
so it kind of flip flops.
It does, and you pick a day.
So
Any
you
day.
think if you
That's
went
what
there and you asked those guys, they wouldn't have the answer either?
No,
They're not deliberately trying to.
No, because there's some things that would pop out specifically, like someone who has $500 in Schedule C gross income and is claiming $10,000 of entertainment. I mean, something like that is going to
Exactly.
spring out.
Or
you-
the red flags more than
Red
it's
flags,
the
there
date
you
you
go.
file.
Well, first of all, it's not even a person seeing your tax return. It's a computer.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's now almost
So
everything's
that-
going to, and the computer is going to see all the red flags. It's going to run all its algorithms.
That's what I was just going to say.
It's going to
Yeah.
run, okay, and it's going to match up information. So one thing, match up things that are actually supposed
Like
to be matched up.
1099
Exactly,
stuff,
match it
yeah.
up.
That happens a lot.
Well, weren't you saying, Edward, a while back that you had people showing very, very little income, but they were deducting, the mortgage interest deduction was like 40, 50K a year, and they were like, the Schedule C was $500. Stuff like that. That's how they were catching people. Somebody was talking about that on the
Yeah.
show.
Maybe that's
Those are the things. It's
Yeah.
just it's those red flags. It's now with interest rates as low as they are, when we prepare the return, our software actually comes back and says, hey, this amount of interest is quite high. Make sure that
Right.
it's up to stuff.
That's actually a very good
So-
point because we're used to be like 70,000 of interest expense might
Right.
be 20,000,
Right.
but that still may be high.
Exactly,
That's a good
exactly.
point.
So now it's just now running in their systems that an interest deduction of 70,000, it's going to be a ding. How many
Right,
dings?
right.
It's going to come back to you really quick.
Okay.
And some again are so automated that this doesn't agree, you're getting a letter.
And here's a good point to call your CPA or call Kathryn Kathryn, specifically before
Yes.
the year end, so that you could do some real tax planning, not come in, hey, I came in before December 31st. It's December 29th. Come on, let's do some tax planning.
Well, to Rob's point, it's all about timing. Oftentimes, the time becomes a culprit, or becomes a disadvantage to the individual for tax planning, for buying a house, for a lot of things. It's all about planning, and that's really what the value of a CPA can be for you. I'd say often to people who, if you're a W-2 employee, I can't do a lot of magic for you. I'm always there to be to listen to you as you are talking about it. I'm happy to provide a little bit of advice about saving for retirement, what the
Okay.
options are for
Go
you.
ahead and give out your information. We'll go to a break.
Sure. It's Kathryn Harris with Karate and Karate, and I can be reached at 415-461-8500.
Very good. Okay, a little mention here for the Hornblower cruises and yachts. So imagine yourself aboard a luxury yacht with your closest friends and family, indulge in deliciously prepared food on scenic San Francisco Bay views. Hornblower Cruises and Events offers 3 types of dining cruises. Free-flowing champagne brunch cruise.
The
Book
best
now.
kind.
That's great. Book now at hornblower.com. Don't touch that dial. The best of investing. I'll be right back. Yeah, I went over a little bit, but they said that wasn't interesting.
Good.
Deuce.
Do you ever find yourself unemployed? Were you looking for an assistant
I am looking for a processor.
processor?
Yeah.
Sorry.
It has not been.
I've been looking for somebody for 2 months. I've been looking for 2 people
For what?
as a staff auditor, and I need someone. For me to move up to be partner, I need someone to replace me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh,
Are you on track?
Yes,
Good for you.
I've been on track for like 3-4 years. But
Nice.
How,
my boss is like, okay, seriously.
Karate, Karate, and Harris.
Yeah, really. Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
How long have you worked for them?
12
years. Yeah, that's.
Wow,
See, at some
that's
point,
awesome.
you know what happens is, tell me if this is true. Eventually, at some point, the partners kind of behind closed scenes and go, you know, for 12 years, we don't want her to go off on her own, blah blah.
Yeah.
And she wants to be partner, so
Yeah.
let's figure out a way
Yeah.
to.
There's that. He's the gentleman I'm taking. He's 75.
Oh, you're gonna just take that. He'll
I'll just-
he'll leave.
He
Okay.
needs to. He needs to. But yes, at some point they had to give up. Guess whose turn it is?
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun.
Breathe through. Breathe through. Okay.
Okay, thanks, guys. I'm just going to talk to the rest of the show.
Yeah. You guys go now.
Okay, so all right. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt, Rob Spinoza, and Kathryn Harris, CPA. Now, we are going to move on to Mark, my main man, my main co-host here.
Another email question.
Another email question comes in that says, how come you can provide loans so much faster than a typical bank? That's a great question.
Well, so I want to reintroduce myself to the audience. I'm Mark Hoff, president and broker for Pacific Private Money, based right here in Northern California. We are an alternative source of real estate financing. Used to be called back in the day the hard money lender. We prefer the term private money lender nowadays. It's the softer, easier name for
Later
us.
on.
Yeah, much friendlier. And the reason why I prefer it is because I actually think that the private money loan industry today it's so much different than hard money of 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, for several reasons. One, most of those hard money lenders are out of business today. They didn't survive the turn of the marketplace. And companies like Pacific Private Money, in fact, most of the more successful private loan originators in California are new since 2008. And that's exactly when we formed back in 2008, post-real estate crash. In fact, this is my second career in real estate after having worked for a real estate developer for the better part of 20 years who didn't survive the crash in the marketplace like a lot of developers. So I took my real estate knowledge, transactional knowledge, and turned it into a practice that has grown to $75 million in annual loan originations. I have 8 employees that work for us, and we are a plan B when plan A fails. Hard money used to be where people who needed a second and were desperate and in financial straits would they'd pick up the phone and call that lender of last resort. Or if you were, a developer looking to buy up 100 acres of farmland for some future development. Banks maybe wouldn't give you money. You'd go to a hard money lender. Not so much today anymore. First of all, regulations are such is that we're not allowed to make loans to people who can't show the ability to afford the monthly payments. And there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, I agree with a lot of those new regulations that were enacted under the Dodd-Frank financial and banking reforms. And in fact, thanks to the Dodd-Frank financial and banking
your
reforms,
business has gotten better.
Right. Private money lenders have
Good.
thrived in that marketplace. Now, that's not necessarily good news for the borrower or the consumer, or if you're a real estate investor and you used to get money from banks and now you can't.
Right.
Our money is more expensive. It's not as expensive in the Bay Area as it is elsewhere in the United States. You might be surprised to know that private money loans in other states are almost all double digits.
Oh,
12, 14,
I will support that.
16%.
Yeah.
In fact, I accuse Mark of personally being the guy in charge of changing the rules just to make it so that, no, I'm just kidding.
So thanks to all the capital that's freely flowing in the San Francisco Bay Area, that abundance of capital has actually pushed private money loan rates down into the single digits. And so 8-9% is still not that unusual, although a lot of the loans we write at Pacific Private Money are still right around 9.9%. And yeah, that's high, but again, it's why do you need the loan? And so we save a lot of real estate transactions that get into trouble, and more are happening in that fashion. Glitches come up, and you're in a contract, and maybe your deposit has gone non-refundable, and you find out from your mortgage broker that you're not going to be able to close on time. So what do? You got $50,000, maybe even more loss, or maybe it's not even non-refundable, but the seller is just saying, you know what, I'm not giving another extension because I've got a backup offer, and he's willing to pay more money. So when you absolutely positively need to close on a real estate transaction, that's where we come into play at Pacific Private Money. We have saved so many real estate transactions over the last, the last 8 years, and more so the last couple of years, because we have a competitive marketplace. People are trying to make non-contingent offers in order to stop losing their contract or get their contract accepted over those cash buyers. Well, cash buyers, there's fewer cash buyers, but there's still a lot of cash buyers out there. And what other people are doing are using private money loans to make a non-contingent fast close offer. So that's another reason where we come into play. Maybe you don't have a glitch in your credit, and it's not that you're not bank financeable. You just want to close in 2 weeks. You can actually land the contract. So you can get a step in front of a cash buyer and get that contract in your favor. So we're able to close very, very quickly. And go back to the question again, Edward. What was it
specifically about why? How come you can provide loans so much faster than a typical bank?
Well, and that's really the hallmark of the private money lending industry is the speed. People come to us probably more for speed and ability to close than anybody else. And the reason we can is, first of all, we're generally in control of the capital. Now, Pacific Private Money, we've got multiple mortgage pool funds, and we have a pretty large stable of high net worth individuals who love to invest in mortgage-backed notes.
You don't have 11 levels of approval.
No, we
Yeah.
don't. Well, and so we've got the capital ready. Although there's nothing different from the bank. The bank has the capital ready. They just hate lending it out for some reason.
Well,
no, they have all these regulations.
Yeah,
going
well,
through the
right. And what I want to talk about on that, the fundamental difference that I see is that the bank's job is not done when the loan is made, because the bank could end up repurchasing that loan,
That's right.
which has got them scared out of their shoes. And that's what creates all these layers of documentation and guidelines and the underwriting process that borrowers know and love. You, on the other hand, you've got a willing investor ready to make the money available on that scenario, and then it's done. And it makes perfect sense.
You've done loans in as quick as, 72 hours?
We've done loans in 72 hours. Now, the new TRID regulations and
Yeah,
other new paperwork under Dodd-Frank has made it more difficult to close quickly. But yes, we can still close when needed in 3 days, although we prefer 7 to 10 business days to close. And again, the reason we can is because we are a subjective lender, meaning we listen to the story. We're experts in California real estate, more specifically in the Bay Area. We know the neighborhoods. We can tell very, very quickly. I mean, we can underwrite a loan in a couple of hours and decide that we like the deal, and we can verify with all the internet resources at our disposal. We can verify that a loan is legitimate. So again, it's really Private money loans is where you go for speed and to rescue your transaction. So for more information, visit us at pacificprivatemoney.com. That's pacificprivatemoney.com.
And the thing that's kind of cool is from your standpoint for this show is borrowers listening to the show will go, wow, here's a resource, I can get money really quickly. And then also from the investor standpoint, people could say, well, where else can I earn 8%?
Right.
This conservative.
We didn't really say that though. That's
No,
Well, we haven't talked about that
Yeah,
yet.
we'll
So we
get
got
into
4
that
minutes
next
remainder of the hour. We'll talk a little bit about the other clients that we serve at Pacific Private Money, which is our investor clients.
All right, stay with us. You're listening to the best of investing. We're going to be right back. Okay.
So that was 3 segments?
Yeah.
That was 3. Yeah, so we have a 9-minute segment.
Yeah, I won't take up, but I will
Just
talk
get
a
it.
little bit about the investing side.
Yeah, because there was one thing I also wanted to ask, mostly you, is the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act. Did you hear about that?
No.
Okay, so they're talking about, well, there was the Glass-Steagall Act. They repealed it
Bush, under Bush.
under Clinton.
Oh, right,
Not
right,
Hillary.
right. Bill,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then now they're thinking about, you know what, this may not have been a good idea. We may need to go back to Glass-Steagall.
I'm actually,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm
No, no
spacing on what is Glass-Steagall?
That's where the banks are kind of allowed to do mortgage banking and stuff. and
I
insurance
thought that
and all
took
stuff.
savings and loans.
Yeah,
out of-
right.
right.
Yeah.
I don't want
Out
to
of the
sound
mortgage.
stupid,
Okay, so
don't-
we're
yeah,
not-
let's,
we're not
let's not go there. Let me do some research on that before,
Okay.
like read an article about it, and then we'll talk intelligently on it. It's not-
Okay, good idea.
I don't want to stumble through that and go. You got some.
That sounded fantastic. I'm gonna go invest with you right now.
Well, yeah, he's an expert in certain areas.
Hey, you know
If
what?
I
We
jump
know where
over
to-
to you, I'll talk a little bit about the investing side, and then maybe jump over to
Yeah, that's fine.
both of you bring
I
a
have our
couple of
stuff.
snippets.
Yeah.
Yes, Kathryn, or no?
I have some Bay Area stats. I was
Yeah.
actually talking about, you just talked about cash buyers.
You can
Then
do
I have
that.
this other cool one about these Sicilian mortgages show how difficult it is to rescue Italian banks.
Oh, that's
That's got to be fun.
So you got some cash. Is it going down? Is it trending down? Or
Yeah,
are we
cash
still-
is trending down. It's cash buyers in 9 county accounted for 18.2% of June
So
2016.
it's still roughly
down
fifth.
20% from May
Yeah.
and down 19.9 in June of 2015. So it's trending down.
So it's trending down.
You guys ready? Here we go. Welcome back to the best of investing. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt, Rob Somnoza, and Kathryn Harris. Can't tell the players without a scorecard here. Okay, so Mark, before we get into asking you about on the investor side, I do want to make a mention here for the Camellia Inn in Healdsburg, which is a blend of vintage charm and modern luxury amenities. You got to check them out. It's a beautiful place where you do bed and breakfast. They got a lovely spa there, luxurious relaxation. I love that. And you can give them a call at 707-433-8182 or go to CameliaInn.com, and that's CameliaInn.com. Okay, so Mark, before we cut to break, we were mentioning about how you can provide loans to borrowers very quickly, but on the flip side, the other side of your business is actually providing high interest rate income to investors.
Well, and of course, we call the show The Best of Investing, and we like to provide some actionable information. That's one of our goals on the show, is to not just read the statistics off of the wires and talk about year over year this or that in the real estate market or stock market. I mean, you can get that anywhere. We like to talk about sometimes the news behind the news, and I'm looking forward to providing you that in future shows. But on the investment side, at Pacific Private Money, we have investment products that are considered alternative investment strategies. These are alternative investments, generally including buying real estate. They're generally non-liquid. They're not like stocks or bonds that are things you can easily get through your broker. At Pacific Private Money, we've got a mortgage pool fund called the Pacific Money Fund that's been in existence now for 36 months. In fact, we launched it 3 years ago. We launched it because there were so many people coming to our company who wanted to invest in individual notes that we couldn't accommodate the volume. So we decided, this is the perfect time to start our own fund, our own internally controlled fund, and that way it would make available the types of yields that you can earn through mortgage investing. And you're going to hear that term a lot in future shows, mortgage investing. That is where you invest in either a note secured by deed of trust or a mortgage pool fund where the source of income is real estate secured notes. And so at Pacific Private Money, the only loans we make are real estate secured loans, mostly in California, so they're secured by a deed of trust or a mortgage, essentially a similar vehicle. Some states they use mortgages, some states it's deed of trust. There's a little bit of a legal difference. We can discuss that in a future show, but by and large, it's the hallmark of mortgage investing is collateral, and that's not something you see in more traditional investments. We all know what the stock market can do. You can buy Apple stock and it can go down. You can actually have a loss of principal. Now, we know real estate values go down too. You can invest in a note, especially if you're investing in seconds, which we sometimes do, although that is the exception, not the rule. 80% of the loans we make are first position loans. So, but even in a first position loan, if you make a high LTV loan, a loan that's high loan to value, you could also lose principal as well if the real estate values go down. But one of the neat things about companies like Pacific Private Money, and this is not well known by the average person out there, we don't make high LTV loans. In fact, we generally don't make a loan higher than 70% loan to value. It used to be 65% until housing prices started recovering 5 years ago. And it may in fact go back to 65% as the norm as prices are starting to peak and we're looking ahead next year, year after, and wondering, are prices going to soften and maybe even potentially dip a little bit. So we're mindful of real estate cycles at companies like ours. And so what we do at Pacific Private Money, our fund right now has been paying a little over 8% consistently on an annualized basis with monthly distributions if you want to be an income investor, or if you want to be a growth investor, you can allow your earnings to accumulate, in which case you actually make a little bit more than 8% through the power of compounding. If you're an individual note investor, we do still work with you, although a growing percentage of the loans we do are being funded through our mortgage pool funds. But we do like to work with individual note investors, and we do loans anywhere from $100,000 to up to $3 million. And yes, indeed, we do have individuals that can fund a $3 million loan, although not quite as common. Our average loan size, I think, at Pacific is about $300,000, $300,000 to $400,000.
Do you have any specific deal of the week or something that?
Well,
an example.
The best deal of the week is there's one we did not too long ago where this was the borrower was a contractor. Now he wasn't asking for a construction loan. He wanted a loan to buy a house in Novato. He was living in Marin already, Central Marin, and he wanted to buy this house in Novato. The problem is all of his equity was tied up in his existing home. He didn't want to sell it first. He wanted to buy this house in Novato, and so he needed 100% financing. Well, I just said we don't do 100% financing, but we do if we have other collateral so that the combined loan to value of the assets is below 70%. So since he had such a low loan on his existing home, we were able to make him a loan that was that allowed him to purchase the house in Novato, which then he remodeled before he moved in. Then he moved in and remodeled the home he moved out of in Corte Madera, and then sold that.
Yeah.
So it was great for him. He was able to move into the house that he wanted to move into, dressed up as the way he wanted it, and then he was able to make some additional money on the sale. So again, we can do 100% acquisition financing for you to buy your next home if you've got equity that we can cross back on your existing property.
One thing I want to comment on with that, and it's much more nuanced, but it's very real when you're in that situation, is that a guy like that, or even a family looking to buy and sell or do what that guy did, there's a lot of stress involved if you can't do things in that sequence. It may even make the project impossible. When you have private money in a situation like that, you're basically solutions-based, solving all of those moving parts, remodeling of two homes, living in one, selling another. If you had to tie all that together in a conventional banking environment, I think it would be impossible.
Right, and the good news is that, and this is why we get a lot of business and referral business from people like you, Rob, because you know that you're going to get to keep that client. You're going to pay us off with a conventional loan. That's exactly what
he doesn't
did.
want to hold the private money long term.
It's too expensive.
Yeah, it's too
Right.
expensive. But if he tried to do it conventionally while he was doing all that stuff, so I think what people come to terms with on that when they're in that situation is this is an opportunity cost, and when they look at it methodically, they realize it may very well be a very good cost for what they plan to do.
Well, some people too, it's funny, they think maybe that Mark's business, Pacific Private Money, is in competition with banks, but actually sometimes He gets referrals from banks because the banker wants to be able to help with a solution.
Yeah.
Where the bank can't fulfill the obligation right there,
Right.
but can do it later on. Well, here they've helped them, get their borrower get a loan, and then they'll refinance it later on.
Yeah.
So if you want information on how you can get in on a company that provides short-term, well-secured loans on local Bay Area, largely local Bay Area property, how you could earn 8% and even more on your money making investments that are secured by real estate with title insurance, with hazard insurance, with all the bells and whistles that any bank loan has, give us a call at Pacific Private Money. We're at 415-883-2150, or just visit our website. Everything you want to know about us is right there, pacificprivatemoney.com.
And by the way, something I forgot to mention in the beginning is that we are also on television. We're not just on radio, we are on
That's
television.
right.
We're on Comcast.
Good for Cat, bad for
There,
the three
exactly.
of us.
Well, you know what? Next time we'll all wear bags on our head. We're on Comcast channel 26 and AT&T channel 99, Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 6 p.m.
Yes.
So you can always kind of check that out, see what we look like. Also,
But don't turn the TV on yet. Listen to us first.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right, because it's on at the same time. So we either do the 6 p.m. show, or you're going to have to just DVR us. There we go.
That's right.
All right, we're going to cut to our last commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have some closing comments and some thoughts for the day. Stay with us. You're listening to The Best of Investing. Don't touch that dial. Okay, good.
I did not know we were back on TV.
We are. Even though Kramer isn't doing
Yeah.
it, I'm running reruns.
So, when we were younger.
When we were younger, exactly.
Why don't you guys fill in? You want
So we have one more segment?
We have one more segment of 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
So it would
Just
be
kind of
kind of a wrap up. Maybe,
yeah.
maybe that's the thing. Is just kind of do a little anything
Okay.
you can think of that might be a little wrap up for yourself.
Sure. I'll just kind of leave with things that.
Yeah, hoping we can
Tips on when to
kind of
see your CPA.
recap. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good one.
recap of what,
Yeah, do that.
What's funny is you mentioned your average loan size, about 300K. LTV, well, yeah, but LTV, preferably, I'm sure you have a lot in your pool that's less than 60.
Yeah. And
median price, well, this is residential, in the Bay Area was 712. It all makes sense. Yeah. You have commercial property in there too, don't you?
We do not much though.
Oh, really?
I wish we had more. It's just commercial property. That's it's really aggressive financing. for
Yeah,
that.
that's
You
true.
can get,
Yeah.
you can get 8% money if it's a good.
Oh, I didn't even think
property.
about that. Yeah, because they're not qualifying the borrower the same way anyway.
Yeah,
They're qualifying the property.
Yes, this one's going to be kind of fast. So,
Okay.
you guys ready?
I'll go with you first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hahn, Rob Spinoza, and Kathryn Harris. Kathryn, we're going to start off with you for closing out the show.
Closing out, I just want to, as we introduce ourselves, I thought we would end it with kind of tips of when you want to talk to your CPA. We talked about timing, and timing is critical. Oftentimes we can help you before things happen, not after. So when you have a life event, when you have children, when you get married, as you're thinking about retirement, and that timeline is a much bigger planning timeline than obviously when you get married or when you have a child. Really in those late 50, early 60 years, when you're thinking about Social Security, thinking about retirement, and strategizing for the next 20, 30 years, great time to see your CPA, great time to work with your CPA, your estate attorney, and your financial advisor to really get them all on the same page so you can best maximize your retirement accounts and your financial health as you go into those wonderful years.
And how do people get a hold of you?
I can be reached at 415-461-8500.
Very good.
Forward to your calls.
All right. And Rob? any
Well,
last
guys,
comments?
yeah, no, great to join everybody today. I'm at RPM in Mill Valley. We're right off the 101, so what I used to like to tell the other audience is if you're not texting when you drive by, you'll see our sign right off the 101. They call me Mr. Positivity. Happy to help with any scenarios you have, and I'm very, knowledgeable about the industry and happy to share it with you. So anything comes up in regards to residential finance, give me a ring anytime, 415-367-5595.
And the great thing about RPM Mortgage is it's locally owned. It's a
Yep.
local Bay Area family owned.
Boots on the ground.
Yeah, boots on the ground. Great loan programs. And whether you call Rob or Kathryn, there's no cost to those calls, guys.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, there's
don't be
not.
afraid to pick up the phone and ask questions.
Get some free
because-
advice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Very good. So let's see, boy, we're closing out
Yes.
our first show on 12:20 a.m.
This
KDOW.
station figured out a way to speed up the clock.
That's it, yeah. Okay. So I want to make a little mention here also for imagine if your child cannot hear or speak. What do you do? Where do you go? Check out the Weingarten Children's Center, which I thought was pretty cool. You can learn more about them at listenspeaklearn.org. All right, and Mark, how do people get a hold of you again if they want to either borrow money or invest money?
So Pacific Private Money, your alternative source for real estate financing and alternative investment strategies for your retirement savings plan. 415-883-2150 or visit our website, pacificprivatemoney.com.
All right, and don't forget, audience, check out our paintball tickets at bestofinvesting.com and click on the little paintball
85%
icon.
off.
85% off.
Almost free.
Almost free, that's right. Okay, here's our thoughts for the day. I changed my password everywhere to incorrect. That way when I forget it, it always reminds me, your password is incorrect. See, that makes sense, right? And
I've not heard that one
I've never
before.
had one.
no.
Okay, and if you don't know where your kids are in the house, turn off the internet. They'll show up quickly.
That is true.
That's
Off
true.
Wi-Fi.
All right, so again, we want to thank our audience. It's our first show on 12:20 a.m. KDOW, and we appreciate the invitation to be on our new station. So tune in next week to The Best of Investing on 12:20 a.m. KDOW at noon. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long. Okay.
Well, that's presumptive. We're having a second show, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We couldn't find a way to fit that in.